Our guest for the program is here already, although virtually. Our guest today is a lawyer turned inventor, and is doing very, very well, putting the name of this country, great country, Nigeria, onto the world map. But right now, before we get to meet him proper, let us see his picture frame. That's the picture frame of our guest, Yusuf Bilesanmi, a lawyer turned inventor. He is the winner, the inventor of ShiVent, winner of Africa Prize for One to Watch. Good morning, Yusuf Bilesanmi.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for granting us your time for being here on the program today. And congratulations on your awards.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That does mean a lot to us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show this morning.
Same here. Same here. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Welcome once again to the show. And first off, let me ask you, how do you feel?
Okay. Well, I feel very, very elated. Initially, of course, dumbfounded, and then elated, and then deeply grateful to all those who took out their time for their busy schedule to register and for the event and vote for us. Furthermore, of course, beyond all that is a recognition that this does afford us to get our products to market of interest and to give patients a fighting chance against the virus and other respiratory related challenges.
Yeah, for the benefits of some of our viewers who are not familiar with Africa Prize for One to Watch Award, how did you get into the competition? Tell us about the award.
Okay. So March 2020, there was a call for ventilators by the UK government, which was being managed by the Royal Academy of Engineering. And in the development of the ShiVent, we responded to the call and developed the ShiVent in line with the NHS and MHRA standards defined in the call. But subsequently to that, because we had registered for that on that platform, we were receiving emails from the Royal Academy of Engineering, and that's actually how we got to know that there was an event called the Africa Prize, and we decided to give it a shot. It's a rigorous process. The documentation is very, very rigorous. It's simply put, if you have not done the work, you can't answer the questions, in-depthly. And then the assessors can see through that those gaps and then select who they will select as the winners. I really don't remember how many people applied, but I know 16 shortlists across Africa were selected, and 4 finalists, and then we have 12 shortlists. And my own assessment of the one to watch was from within the group of the 12 shortlists.
Wow. Now, let me take you back to this project of yours. You have called it the ShiVent project.
Yes.
Yes. Let me take you back to what inspired you to do this? What brought it up? What brought about this?
Okay. So following the lockdown in the UK, my wife's friend informed her that our 5-year-old daughter had been infected with the COVID-19 virus, and the instruction at the time was that if you have anybody infected, you should isolate that person, in a room in the house. Now, as a parent, I equally have a 5-year-old daughter as well, and it was worrisome to think about the fact that I have to isolate my daughter, and if such an event occurs. So that just got me interested in saying, okay, look, what can we do? I mean, as engineers, what can we do in putting together a ventilator that is robust and fit for purpose? And that was how I got to it really, and I had to work with a very brilliant team, which I'll discuss further as we go.
That was a very interesting project. That was great. We are proud of you. But now, tell us about the ShiVent project, from conceptualization to design, all of it.
Right. So I'll go back a little bit into time. So November 2019, I joined the Unleash SDG Innovation Labs in Shenzhen, China, and at the Heathrow Airport, when I was about leaving to the event, I met with Dr. Yusuf Shitu, who is now the Chief Medical Officer at Shifa Technologies. I met with him at the airport, and he's a Nigerian, I'm a Nigerian, and we just connected, immediately, and had our chat, and we both went for the program in China. So the Unleash Labs brings people from all across the world together to identify a global problem within the SDGs, and then over a period of 7 days, you develop a product, and you're bridging innovation as well as diversity of that group to come up with a solution. Amongst the 4 categories, Dr. Yusuf and myself emerged winners. His team won the most innovative award, and my team won the most scalable award. So, and funny enough, we both lived in Leicester. So returning back to the UK, we were on the same plane together, had chit chats and all that. And before you know it, COVID happens. And then I reached out to him and asked, look, the solution you had developed initially back then in China, is that something that we could use for children, for patients with COVID? And he said no, because that was actually designed for neonates. It's a neonatal version of the product. So it was basically taking the principles of bubble CPAP, which is a continuous positive airway pressure, and then redesigning that to fit for adults, which was what he had done before with the neonatal version. So the first thing was we needed to put together a whole new team, because I'm an energy engineer and he is a medical doctor. We needed to bring in someone with a bit more biomedical engineering expertise. We made announcements on LinkedIn. We got some very interesting people to join us. We made announcements on Twitter. I also made announcements on the Love Pro community, the PhD community, where I'm doing my PhD at the moment. And we got some very interesting people who ended up becoming directors in the company now. One of them is Ricardo Nascimento, who is Brazilian, Paolo Nice was Polish, and Gaurav Nanachkar was Indian. And so, basically we had about 10 people initially. When we started looking through the designs and, putting designs together, reviewing that, we noted it was just basically about 5 of us that we were working. So we closed down the WhatsApp group and then, formulated it into a proper company. And from that point, we were investing our money, our time, our resources to build this. This is COVID, we're in lockdown, right? So we're just designing and iterating those designs online. And to be honest, there was a lot of prototyping, there was a lot of failing, there was a lot of iterating. But 10 weeks into all that work, we were able to have a functional working prototype, which had passed the functionality test at the National Center for Exercise Sports and Medicine at Loughborough University. And on the 10th of June, we reiterated the product again, and we equally carried out the second test at Leicester Royal Infirmary Hospital, which was being carried out by medical physicists, which was a significant success too. Thereafter, we received a 5 million Naira award grant from LASRIC, which is Lagos State Science, Research and Innovation Council.
Fantastic. And
that 5 million Naira was valued about £10,000 at the time, which really went the extra mile to helping us reiterate and improve on the product. By December, we carried out another test again at the Glenfield Cardiorespiratory Hospital, which was a major success. It was more of a preliminary clinical trial at that time. And with all that, the Africa Prize, of course, supported. We had our documentation, and we were able to assess all that work we've done and the success we've achieved till date with what was in place. And so presently, we've sent units of our products to Nigeria. We've carried out demonstrations in Lagos at Lutz. Also, we've carried out another demonstration in Abuja at EHA clinics. And we've identified markets of interest in Nigeria to serve the West African market, as well as Rwanda for the East African market. Let
me hold your breath a bit there. Before you start talking about the markets and all that. We know the information we have is that this ventilator is oxygen efficient, and it is said to be low cost, and it has a lot of easy to use. I read up something that it takes only 30 minutes for someone to be able to make use of this ventilator, and all of this put together, I'm sure was part of your consideration when you were producing this ventilator. Now, my question to you is that you are a Nigerian in diaspora. If you had been in Nigeria, a Nigerian living in Nigeria, do you think this would have been possible?
Well, to be honest, I think, Of course, we had some challenges, and if we were doing this in Nigeria, we would have had some challenges as well. For example, one of those challenges is access to oxygen, right? And it's in the middle of COVID. Nobody was going to sell us oxygen. It would have been difficult to put this together. If we were in Nigeria, it wouldn't have been any different. We might even get access to it if we spoke to other companies, things like that. So I think there are challenges in various markets. So it might be difficult for us to prototype or get our functionality tests in place. Yes, but I don't think if we did it in Nigeria and we were relentless as we were in the UK, it would have been totally impossible. It might take us more time. We might need more guidance from medical practitioners who are really busy, and we are grateful. Here in the UK, we got a couple of medical practitioners who give us their time and attention because they understand the importance of this. But I don't want to look at Nigeria from that perspective, that if we did it in Nigeria, it would have been totally impossible. It might have been a bit more challenging, but definitely, with the level of passion and unrelenting effort we had, definitely we might have been able to get there. It might take us more time. We might not get as much recognition and support very quickly, but definitely we would still get there.
Okay, you talked about so much passion. We have a lot of Nigerians, since COVID-19, they've been trying to do one thing or the other, also passionately. But we're talking about even the herbal doctors and all that we have. They've been trying to put resources and put their technologies and everything everything together. But, they have always complained about brick walls from the government or the stakeholders and all that. You are talking about passion. It's passion. Yeah. Are you saying passion is enough to do all this?
Well, passion is not enough, and that's not all we had. Yeah. We had an enabling environment. We had, committed hands. We had, so to start a company up, you need three things. You need funds, resources. You need, people who dedicate their time and their resources. It's not just, here's the money, go. You need, dedication of time and resources, and you need to have people who have closed up the knowledge gap. So whatever knowledge is needed to deliver that value needs to be available to get that work done. Yes, there were a few and very, very interesting solutions coming out of Nigeria, from medication to solutions, and which is really all good. The question is also how much support do these individuals get in being able to carry out their, execute their ideas. In our case, the money we got from last week was able to help us get a lot done because we're not paying ourselves salary from it, right? We had other sources of income and only allocated that money to material procurement, resources, and that's what makes it valuable. Now, in Nigeria, or somebody living in Nigeria might not have all that, and definitely that will make it a difficult situation. By every standard, Nigerians are exceptionally brilliant people who definitely get by with things like this, and do even much better, given appropriate conditions, which doesn't need to really be anywhere outside Nigeria. It's the same sand, it's the same soil. It's just that you have a little bit more empathy from people, and empathy doesn't start and end with leadership. It has a lot to do with followership. So it's more of the daily interactions, the everyday engagements, the way we treat ourselves, the way we believe in the aspiration of others, knowing that it's for to serve the wider community. I think those little things are sometimes much more important than the bigger things that we point to.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Yusuf. I salute your courage, your determination, and that was a great stride you made. We are proud of you. Now, you have invented. You have been all over the world right now. So, please tell me, how did it feel, you among many others who were able to achieve this greatness? How was the feeling like at that point in time?
Humbling to say the least. Really, it was a very humbling moment for us. On that day, we actually had a management meeting. We just sat back in one of our directors when we all having lunch together, and the announcements came, and it was a perfect timing for us. So the 12 innovators, all are from various countries in Africa. It was a very, very stiff competition. Brilliant ideas emanating from the continent, and that cut across circular economy solutions to energy, to distribution, to IT, to job creation, and it was all brilliant. But amongst all that, for the voters to have been able to gather more attention for the work we've done was very, very humbling, and really we are deeply grateful for that.
Well, talking about scientific research and talking about the role of scientific research and development in nation building, we have countries like Nigeria that we would say that globally we have not measured up to standard. How do you think that we can key into these and promote scientific research in our country?
Well, I think scientific research is very, very important for national development. It starts with, of course, the individuals identifying various gaps, in the country. Everyday things that you interact with, it's more of a a passion whereby you're in a field of study, you identify something that you feel could be improved, and you get to it. And but what then goes behind that is to ensure that you have enabling infrastructure, whether it's from the university environment or if it's a business you're starting up from the startup environment, whatever environment it is, that you have the enabling support to take that idea and that plot beyond the lab or beyond that area of concern to actually making it into a product that is accessible and usable to people. So yes, it's really at the nucleus of national improvement. If we're going to mitigate importation and first of all cater for the well-being of Nigerians, and then next phase is looking at importation. But we need to be able to build what we use ourselves as a nation.
Yes, you said we need to build what we use. Now, how can we do this? We've been on this for a long time, and we have capabilities, we have human resources, so many scientists making waves even outside the country like yourself, and there are so many more in Nigeria. How can we key into this and begin to see results very, very soon?
I'm sorry, I didn't. The voice was a little bit cracky. I didn't get the question very clearly.
Okay.
Can you come again?
Now, you said that we need to begin to produce what we use and avoid importation all the time. And science will require a lot of commitment and investment. So how do we begin?
Yes.
How do we begin to start generate these things ourselves right now, immediately, so that in the nearest future we will stop importing all these things? And remember that imported facilities and equipment could be very, very difficult to maintain, particularly with parts and all. So what do we do to begin to make these things ourselves?
So first of all, I think knowledge. There is a knowledge gap. The same thing that there's the knowledge gap in terms of practicality of ideals. I think a lot of the education that we experience in Nigeria sometimes is theoretical, sometimes doesn't it's not things you can take beyond that lab environment and practically execute. So there is of course a need for maker spaces and for people to be able to build stuff, and then take those things to market. But also, before builders really understand what we are building for, right? For example, there's a significant amount of imports for I think hair design and things that usually could be built in Nigeria. There's a lot you can do even from the waste that we generate, right? But if the knowledge we have, if there is a knowledge gap in what we could do with the resources we have, imagine a case whereby we're having to produce oil and export that oil and refine the oil outside before we can bring it back in to use. It's going to make it expensive for us to afford. But if you have those technologies in country where you can produce and refine, and then you'll be the exporter, then that means we benefit across the value chain.
Exactly.
Right? So enabling that value chain is very, very, very important to ensuring that such benefits are available in country immediately. And that comes through two ways. There needs to be room for collaboration, but collaboration in ways that it benefits the Nigerians, right? So if an importer is coming to the country, rather than importing materials into the country, we should be focusing on technology transfers, right? Where the focus is, okay, well, how do you bring that technology you have into this market, and we can rule that together, rather than how do you give me the material? Because the material might seem cheaper in the immediate cost, but in the long term, there's a cost to that across value chains where Nigerians don't have access to to what's been said, and that's why one of the focus for us at ShiVent is to ensure that we adopt a distributed manufacturing approach whereby we can actually produce locally in country. So jobs are created, taxes are paid, and there is a significant part of that value chain that benefits Nigerians, and then makes room for affordability to afford the product that is being offered to them.
All right, thank you very much. I want to take you back to the line of thought where you started from when I caught you, talking about market and marketing. Now, have you had any form of interest for partnership or mass production, from any major, maybe from countries, from individuals, or from multinational companies?
Yes, we've received interest from investors from Singapore, investors from the US, investors here in the UK. We've also received interests from Rwanda, and the interest from Rwanda is something we really do appreciate. Beyond the investment is the need for the desire for us to work with the ministerial department to build locally, and I think that's the sort of thing we would like to equally see coming from Nigeria. Sadly, we've not gotten much interest from Nigeria. We've not, but of course we were funded by LASROC, which means a lot to us. But yeah, transitioning from that fund to a product is a whole different interface, and it will be good to get more participation from the Nigerian parties, whether they're investors, authorities, or what you may have. But yes, it will be good to have some. But till date, we've seen more international partners, approaching us than Nigerians. Okay.
Let me put you a little bit on the spot this morning. You have talked about the support, you got from Nigeria, Lagos State, to be precise. So as a give back, what do you think you will do?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
All right. I said you talked about the support you got from Nigeria and Lagos State precisely. As a give back, what do you think you will do? Giving back, giving back.
Yes. We are committed regardless to. I mean, we have 2 Nigerians on the board out of 5, so we are committed to ensuring that we could deliver the value gained to local markets, whereby we can produce locally. For the West African markets, our primary interest is to produce in Nigeria. And to hopefully that creates, of course, lots of jobs and pays taxes and contributes more to Lagos State or whichever state we eventually select as the hub of manufacturing.
Okay.
All right, Yusuf, we are very, very proud of you. Well done. You did very great. Now, talking about innovation, what more could we expect from you in the nearest future? Did you get that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So presently I run a
Continue.
Go on. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it's halted for a minute.
No.
So presently I run a startup called Eja-Ice. Eja-Ice is a solar powered cold chain and refrigeration.
Hello? Are you still there? Hello, Yusuf?
Company. We
Okay.
just like, can you hear me clear?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we lost you somewhere there. You were talking about the Eja-Ice.
Yes, Eja-Ice, yes. So at Eja-Ice, we offer solar powered cold chain solutions, and the way this actually happened, maybe I could relate it to the questions I answered earlier. In 2017, I went to buy fish, and the fish retailer gave me a fish that was already, rotting. And I told her, look, I can't buy this fish. I said, look, this is what I have because we don't have power. There is fuel scarcity. I don't have any fuel for my generator, so I can't, keep it frozen. So I told her, look, I can't buy the fish, but I'll come back and see you in January. And I went back over the holidays, thinking about the solution for her. I then, went back in January and told her, look, I can set up a solar freezer for you. I could, set up a solar system to refrigerate your fishes, so you don't need to buy fuel. I said, okay, well, let's see what it will cost. I did that design. I think it was going to cost about 1.2 million naira at the time, and of course, you couldn't afford 1.2 million naira, even though she's a wholesaler. I ended up going to the banks on our behalf to speak to the bank and say, well, is the bank going to be happy to fund this? And the banks equally declined that, look, she's a fish retailer, we don't know, we don't have her details, we don't understand that, which is fine. But what happens with that is that she is excluded from the financial system, whereby she's not able to get grants, she's not able to get the funding that she requires, and she's going to be strangulated. What I went back with was two problems. One was the problem of technology, because I noted that the reason why the freezer was the cost of our solar system was going to be 1.2 million is because her freezers were consuming so much energy. And the second was the financial challenge, because she couldn't afford it. So we then redesigned the freezer, looked at the areas of parameters, identified manufacturers, and were able to offer that same product to her at 450,000 naira today.
Wow.
At the time, it was costing 1.2, but we were able to redesign it. Now, at the time, we could only offer solar. Today, we can offer a brand new freezer, a solar system, and 3 years of service support, as well as insurance coverage. All that for 450,000, in contrast to the initial phase when we could only offer solar systems for 1.2 million.
A very beautiful one there.
Afford it, right? So we decided to offer a lease-to-own scheme whereby she pays in bits for the assets. But we are not an engineering, we're an engineering company, we're not a financial company. So that somewhat strangulates our finances. And
all right.
The idea is and we've now identified banks to work with to fund that process. So she can acquire assets over a period of time.
All right, let me just cut your thoughts there. Let me cut you, because our time is fast running. We don't have all the time on the show. But before we let you go, you talked about engineering, engineer companies, and we've been talking about all forms of engineering. Now, going back to you as a person, a lawyer, I beg you, what in lawyer they find for engineer matter?
So this was, I wish this question was asked earlier so I could go over there and tell you the whole story.
You have 10 seconds to do that.
So in 2003, I started my law program in last 2000, I think December 2000. It was something that meant so much to me, given that we acquired our democracy again in 1999. I always looked at law as a platform for for change and all that. But 2003, with the .com community and Microsoft and all that, I felt there was so much more that I could give to the world through IT rather than just law, which is limited to a particularly geographic market. So I went back to my dad and I said to him, I like law, right? But I think IT can do more. And he was like, oh, fine, sure, IT will do more. But you know what? Finish your law program. And I was like, the truth is I have no interest and I'll just really be wasting my time there. It was a long argument for I think about a few months. My mom finally came in and at some point my dad allowed said, okay, well, fine.
Please wrap up your thoughts.
As a parent now, I kind of understand how he felt. But yeah, back then I just felt, look, this is not something I have any interest in anymore. But it was, I think it was the best decision I ever made, and he's very, very proud of me having, stamped my feet on the ground and said, this is what I want to do, and what I'm doing now. And my legal experience still helps me in engagements with in the business engagements with anyone.
All right.
It comes very, very handy. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. It's been wonderful talking to you this morning. And I tell you, if I did not take anything home today, I would take this home, that we should let our children be who and what they want to be.
I just guide them. Just guide them along the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been beautiful having you on the show.
And congratulations once again.